All right, we can clap it up. Hey, Shalom, Yahba Shem Shai Barakatah. We are the Isupk, start out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. And since 1969, we have been teaching men, women, and children that are Black, Latino, and so-called First Nation Indian that they are the true people of the Bible, and that the white man is the goddamn devil that the Bible speaks of. Right. And something that we have to remember, especially in today's time, is that brotherhood is such an essential law that we need to keep. Because without brotherhood, it causes destruction. It causes dysfunction. It causes problems where there need be none, you know? Salakia, we're going to start by just bringing out the first scripture, which is going to be Salakia. That's going to be the book of Matthew, chapter 18 and verse 15. Because something we have to remember being in the truth is that we're still human. You don't automatically come into the truth and become a super soldier where you were just unemotional, where you are able to turn off the things that may piss you off. But here's the thing, you are a soldier. And so what do you have to do? Do you know what you have to do? In those times where you are pissed off, you might feel emotional. What is it? What is it that you need? So I can. Oh, we have some technical difficulties. Shalom, Yahaba, Shem Shai Barakatah, to young man DK, the water for checking in. And also, I just want to give another hands up to Trooper ICR for being in class this evening. The water to you.
All right, sorry, sir.
All right, now you two.
Can you repeat the question?
Oh yeah, just what is it that brothers need in that time when they are feeling they feel down? In those times where you feel like you are down and out, those times when you feel like you're gonna fall.
So I can seek counsel, sir.
Most High in Christ, hey, you seek counsel, yes. You seek counsel, and that counsel that you're gonna seek is the brotherhood that you're looking for. Because brotherhood is the one thing that you have to fall on. Because it's the one thing that we do have. In the same way that if someone pisses you off, how about you have some brotherhood for them? You know? How about you you look at them and say, okay, maybe they aren't the best suited to take on this responsibility. So I'm gonna have the brotherhood to take it on for them. You know, that's called having strength to be able to take on the burden of the things that your brothers can't carry. So don't let it piss you off because your brother isn't able to do something. Don't let it piss you off because your brother may be lacking in some aspect that you see. How about you pick up for him and make up in where he's lacking? How about you do the brotherly thing and go out of your way to lift him up so that another brother can do the same for you? Shalom, Yahweh Shema Thabah Hashem Yahushai, to the rib of Trooper ICR checking in from East Palo Alto. The water for checking in. All right, you got that scripture?
Okay.
All right, please read it loud.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 18 and verse 15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone.
It says, if a brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault to he and he alone. We're not people that gossip in the truth. We're not people that go around and talk behind a brother's or sister's back. Salakia, if you hear any type of inkling of a type of malicious gossip, the first thing that you will hear outside of the conversation is, Salakia, if you don't take it to counsel, I'm gonna have to take you to counsel. Because we don't allow that in the truth. That's something that is not within our culture, to put brothers down behind their back, to put a sister down behind their back, to talk evil against them. That's not our culture. It never has been and never will be. In the times that we do allow ourselves to fall to these things, it's the destruction of Israel. We have plenty of examples of that in the Bible. Continue with that scripture, please.
If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother.
And it says, and if he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. When you go to him and him alone, and he hears you, he hears the alt that you brought to his attention, he's going to change. That brother isn't going to continue to offend you in that way. Continue.
Verse 16. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, in that the mouth of two or three witnesses, every word may be established.
See, the Bible has such wisdom in it. It doesn't give any room for fault. It says, okay, if this brother doesn't see his fault, bring it to 2 or 3 brothers. Let them see the case and let them say, okay, is there a fault with what this brother has done? And if they see that there's a fault, then there's definitely something wrong. But let me tell you this: it is rare for it to get to that point, generally. And when it does, it is generally an issue of pride. And that's something that you can't allow yourself to fall to. Continue.
Verse 17. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. Man, but if he neglects,
it says, tell it unto the church. It says, let it be known unto the nation what this alt is. There is no room for any type of secret beef in Israel. You can't be beefing for months or weeks or years with the brother over here just because, and no one know about it. Salakia, it's going to be brought to light because that is the law. The law is that there's no secrets. You're not going to have a problem with this brother and pass it down to your children and have a feud, have a generational feud. That's not something. Salakia, there's a white like a white Western. It's called the Hatfields and McCoys, where white people just have blood feuds that, like, Salakia, there's a whole bunch of movies and shows you can watch where white people have blood feuds that last generations. You know, like Salakia, the one that I think of is a House of the Dragon. That's a fake one. It's not real, but it speaks to their nature perfectly. It's just like y'all are literally related to each other. Y'all are brothers, yet your blood feuds will last hundreds of years. And it's the same thing when we look to our oppressor. When we look to those other nations, it's exactly what happened to Israel. As soon as we started allowing ourselves to fall to these other nations' idols, what happened? So, do you know what happened?
The Lord wasn't with us. We went into captivity.
We went into captivity, but before we went into captivity, what were we doing with each other?
Killing each other.
Exactly. We was killing each other just like the white man. We was having generational feuds. We had tribe of Judah, house of Kakam over here beefing with the house of Rakah of Ephraim over here, you know? And it's just like, and there's a whole bunch of interchangeable tribal warfare that was going on in Israel. We can't allow ourselves to fall backwards. We can't allow ourselves to, Salakia, there's a scripture in the Bible that says a kingdom divided against divided cannot, or Salakia, a kingdom divided cannot stand. I'm paraphrasing. But that's exactly what happens when we fall away from the Most High, when we take on the culture of our oppressor. We continue this interbickering. We say you're a brother and you say that you're a Judite. You say you hate Judites because they're ratchet or ghetto. You're a Issacharite. You say you hate Zebulon because you think Zebulon is too haughty, or they think that they're all that. Or you're a Judite and you hate Benjamin or Levi because you think that they think that they're better, or the vice versa. Salakia, it could be a myriad. It could be so many different reasons as to why we have a lack of brotherhood. But we have to go to one another and fix those problems so that they don't continue. Continue with that.
But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man or a publican.
But if he doesn't hear the church out, if he doesn't hear the people out on his wrong, you treat him as a heathen. Salakia, you say, I'm on the air, so I can't say what I want to say, but forget him. Replace the word, but, forget him. Like, he's nothing. He's less than nothing. He's neglected you. He took your brotherhood and spit it back in your face. And let me tell you, you won't last very long in the truth if you have an evil spirit like that. We're going to drop that and we're going to go to the book of Genesis. We're going to go to the book of Genesis, chapter 37, in verse 1. We're going to start at verse 1.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 37 and verse 1. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. Verse 2. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah.
Just as best as you can.
And the son, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report.
So this is the story of Joseph and his brothers. So when he was 17 years old, he was out feeding the flock with his brothers. He was with his brothers from the sons of Bilhah and with the sons of Zilpah. So I believe that's not Judah, Reuben, Levi. That's the ones after him. So I'm not even going to try to get those correct. I know them, but I'm not sure on them. I think it's Asher. The next ones from Zilpah were Asher, Zebulon, Dan. Those three, and there was another one. So he was with 5 of his other brothers out in the fields. And he brought a report to his father, Jacob, of evil, an evil report. Continue. And this evil report isn't a report of evil. This is a report of bad. It's a bad news. He's bringing his father bad news. Continue, please.
Verse 3. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. Verse 4. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. Verse 5. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it was his brethren, and they hated him yet more.
See, so like, if you pause right there, so everyone could see that Jacob loved Joseph more than everybody, more than everyone else. Jacob loved Ephraim the most of all his sons, and it was obvious. This speaks a lot about the character of Jacob and just how much he actually loved, like how much love he had for his wife Rebecca compared to Leah. You know, it's just like this brother damn near put his heart into everything that he cared about. So same thing with the Most High. So if he cares this much about his wife and his child, damn near just think about how much he cares about the Most High. You know? So I could continue.
Verse 6. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. Verse 7. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheep arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made
obeisance
to my sheep.
So pretty much this is Joseph going to his brother and telling them a dream that he had of sheaves of wheat in the field, and they all had sheaves of wheat together, and his sheaves of wheat stood up pretty much, and all his brother's sheaves of wheat stood around his, and they obeyed his sheaf. So let's look up that word obeisance just to be sure. Look that up just to have it. The definition of obeisance is they paid obeisance to the priest, a gesture expressing deferential respect, such as a bow or curtsy. So this brother is pretty much telling them a dream of how they all bow down to him. Continue.
Verse 8. And his brethren said to him, shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his word.
Now just imagine Joseph, like, imagine trying to be in Joseph's shoes. Like, how much confidence and this, like, just like this brother has to exude to know, oh, my brothers hate me. I'm gonna go tell them this dream about how I'm gonna be on top of them and how they're gonna pay respect to me. Can you imagine that? That nigga has, like, Salaki, that nigga has a spirit of a king, you know? Like, this nigga's just like, I don't give a damn if you don't like me. Like, Salaki, you gonna hate me because my dad likes me more than y'all? I'm gonna just say what it is as it is. And, like, that's something that is so vital to have as a Black person, as a Latino person, because our spirits have been stifled in this captivity. We have this a lot of times, I'm gonna say all the time, but a lot of the times, Black people have this fear to express themselves to their fullest ability, to hold them. So they hold themselves back on account of someone else. They hold themselves back on account of their brother. They hold themselves back on account of their sister. They hold themselves back on account of their mother or father. Let it be because they want to either stifle just the greatness of that child, or whether it's because, Salakia, they just don't want to bring attention to that child because it's easier to be a target when you have that much attention. Whatever the case, Joseph let that light shine, and he didn't let anything take away from it. He was the shit, and he let his brothers know that he was the shit. Salakia, you want to continue?
Oh.
And if I may, Salakia, that's the attitude we have to have in the world. If you in the truth, you got to realize you the shit. Salakia, you him at all times. Let it be known wherever you go. All right, please continue.
Verse 9. And he dreamed yet another dream.
Just like he had another dream. Continue.
And told it his brethren, and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me.
Continue.
Verse 10. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him and said unto him, what is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee, to the earth? Verse 11. And his brethren envied him, and his father observed the same.
Right there. Salakia, like, there's a lot to unpack right there. Because Joseph, you got to remember that these dreams are coming from the Most High. So when Joseph is speaking, you got to realize that this isn't just him just talk. Like, obviously he is talking his shit because that's who he is. But at the same time, this is ordained by the Most High. These dreams aren't just nothing. So he's going to go to his father and say the same thing he said to his brothers. You realize how unabashed he is in doing this and coming to his father to say this, and how offended his father is afterwards. He says, so you think your mother and your father, you think me and your mom are going to bow down to you? We're going to bow down to the earth, to you, our son? That's disrespectful. Slaggy. Like, we have laws that says if you don't honor your mother and father, you should be put to death. So imagine actually saying this to your father. You know, like, this is not a light thing that he's bringing to his father's attention. This is a heavy thing. This is like a life or death type situation. Okay, continue, please.
Verse 12.
Oh, Salakia. In verse 11, it says, and his brothers envied him. This is where that lack of brotherhood really starts to show itself. It's like, obviously it was there in the beginning, but you got to realize is that their brother, like, these brothers aren't doing anything to rectify the problem. They're never going to Joseph and saying, hey, bro, like, you got to, like, maybe if you stop being like this, you know, having a real conversation with the brother on how he conducted himself. They never had a real conversation with their father on how he conducted himself with their brother. So it's just like the lack of communication and the lack of brotherhood that they are showing and having towards one another is going to cause such dysfunction in their family. Continue.
Verse 12. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem.
Yep.
And verse 13. And Israel said unto Joseph, do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said unto him, here I am. Verse 14. And he said to him, go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flock, and bring me word again. So he sent him out. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came unto Shechem.
So Jacob told his so Israel, Salakia, because his name has been changed at this point, but Israel said to his son to go out to his brothers that are in another city, another field, and bring word to me of their of what they're doing, if they're well. And this is what Joseph does. Continue, please.
Verse 15. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, what seekest thou? Verse 16. And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. Verse 17. And the man said, they are departed hence, for I heard them say, let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren and found them in Dothan.
This is Joseph going after doing his father's work to see how the work is going with his brothers. So he gets there, and one of the workers that are there that are supposed to be working with his brothers aren't there. Joseph's like, hey, yo, where are my brothers at? And the worker's just like, well, shoot, I think I heard them say they're going to go to Dothan, knowing damn well that's exactly where they were going to be. So, like, you got to look at this as just like these brothers were shirking their responsibilities on top. So it's just like, not only are you envious of your brother who's doing the direct work of your father, you're shirking the duties that your father has given you as well. Like, just like, what does that say about the character that they are showing at this time? You know, it's like you're mad at how much your father loves your brother. So your brother does the important work, you know, like he's doing, like, the brother can read, he does the math, he's doing all the analytical type work. Y'all are in the field and you are shirking your duties that your father has given you. Like, you can't, and it's such a heavy thing, especially being in the truth. You cannot shirk the little things, you know, because they equal the big stuff. You can't let the little responsibilities go to the wayside and just think, oh, as long as I do the most important things, that's all that matters. That's not how it works. And it shows the character that you have, and that's the same character that these brothers had when they had evil in their heart. Please continue.
Verse 18. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. Verse 19.
Okay, so Salagi, let me just pause right there. They saw him afar off, and they conspired to slay him, to kill him. This is the same type of hate brothers on the block have for a nigga in a different neighborhood. It's the same type of hate. And you know what's crazy too? It's just like these are direct blood brothers, so to speak. We got to realize that brother that you want to kill, that nigga that you want to kill, that spick that you want to shoot, that's your brother. And you got to see it for just how evil it actually is. You're killing your brother. Like, there's no greater joy that your enemy could have for you when we're killing each other. And so that's what these brothers decided to do, because they have no brotherhood. They have negative brotherhood. Salakia, and the evil spirit is definitely on them. Please continue.
Verse 19. And they said to one another, behold, this dreamer cometh. Verse 20. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say, some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dream.
So they hate this brother because the Most High is giving him a dream. Like, Salaga, that's going to happen a lot of times. And you know what's crazy too? Like, that just gives you a good idea of what's on these brothers' minds, understanding that they are the children of Israel, prince of the power, like princes of the power. Yet their minds are so focused on such carnal things. Like they don't even understand the heritage that they're bringing forth, Like each one of these brothers that are thinking about this evil thing are not even thinking about the fact that it was going to be written down. Like it was not a thought in their mind that this record would be taken. Yet it was. It was not a thought in their mind that Israel would become the greatest nation on the planet and would rule the earth. Like this isn't what they were just thinking about on the daily, So please continue, which is just a heavy thing to think about. The original Israelites weren't even thinking about it, All right, continue, please.
Verse 21. And Reuben heard it and delivered him out of their hands and said, let us not kill him.
And Reuben, the eldest brother, he had a little bit of sense and said, okay, y'all talk about killing the nigga. Like, let's not kill him. Like, let us actually do something less. Let's throw him into a pit. All right, that's like I'm getting ahead of myself. Continue.
Verse 22. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hand, to deliver him to his father again. Verse 23.
Yo, okay. So it's crazy if just how evil that was. He said, let's not don't touch him. He's like trying to make a loophole. Like he already knows murder is wrong. So he's like, let's not kill him ourselves. Let's just throw him into a pit. Let's just throw him to a pit that he might rid him out of his hands and we can deliver him to our father again. When he says deliver him to our father again, he's talking about bringing his body. Bringing his body to the father. We can come back and get his body. Like Reuben was just thinking about the how to get away with it. Like that's actually a crazy thing to think about. I'm not even gonna say the Salaga. I'm gonna get the breakdown on that because that's just what I got right there. I'm gonna get the breakdown fully on that, but that's what it seems like right there, Salagi. All right, continue.
Verse 23.
Please.
And it came to pass when Joseph was come unto his brethren, they stripped Joseph out of his coat, and his coat of many colors that was on him. Verse 24. And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it. Verse 25.
Oh, so if I may, I take it back. I remember Reuben, I believe, does come back to check for his brother. So, no, because they sell him. Salaki. Continue, Salaki.
Verse 25. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt.
So they see their cousins coming down the road. These are Ishmaelites. So, Ishmael was the son of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. So he's a brother of Isaac and the uncle of Israel. So their granduncle's kids, the Ishmaelites, they're coming from Gilead with the camels bearing spicery and balm and myrrh. Continue.
Verse 26. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood?
All right, right there. Now, right here, this scripture right here is used a lot of the time to show the nature of Judah. This thing is just like, hold on. We ain't gonna make what profit if we just kill him? We can make some money right here. Like Judah's trying to hustle at every opportunity, just about. Nigga thinks he can flip a dime at every corner. Or on the verses, they got the small hats and they say he's always thinking about money. But either way, we got that stereotype in Judah. We have it a little bit in our spirit to be focused on money. I'm not even going to deny that. But Slaga, continue.
Verse 27. Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother in our flesh, and his brethren were content. Verse 28. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Egypt. Verse 29. And Reuben returned to the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit. And he rent his clothes.
Because he believed that Joseph had been killed and was dead. Which, if you're thinking about it, you're getting sold into slavery. You're getting sold into Egypt. Salakia. Egypt was called in the Hebrew Mirayim. It's yes, or I believe that's it. And that means bondage. So Egypt, I believe, isn't the actual meaning for bondage, but Mizraim in the Hebrew is directly correlated to the word bondage. So you got to realize it's that this person going into bondage, these slaves aren't going to live for more than 7 years. His brother is dead to him. Could continue.
Verse 30. And he returned unto his brethren and said, the child is not, and I, whither shall I go?
He's just like, yo, where am I supposed to go? Because I was responsible for my brother, for this kid, the 17-year-old. Yeah, it's a kid. He called him a child, which is another good way to see how we viewed age at those times. A 17-year-old was a child, you know? So it's just like, in that same sense, it's just like we understand, like Black people understand the innocence and the development of actual age. White people don't get it. White people will put a 12-year-old on the what do you call the on not death row. It's death row, but they have a specific name for the hanging. Do you know what it is? Yeah, okay, I can't think of it, but pretty much white people will hang a 12-year-old. They'll hang an 11-year-old. They'll hang a child. They have no distinction between age, you know? They don't have any type of mercy because of age. Let it be an old person or a young person. That was made clear in the book of Exodus when Amalek came and attacked our people from the back, from the rear. So you got to realize it's just like in the same way that they don't have a sense of morality when it comes to age, the Bible does have it, and it talks about it clearly. Please continue.
Verse 31. And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats and dipped the coat in blood. Verse 32. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, this have we found. Now, know now whether it be thy son's coat or no.
Yeah, that's evil. What these brothers just did to their father. They said they took the jacket, put goat's blood on it, and brought it to their dad and said, well, is it Joseph's? As if they don't know. Like just how met like Slagia. And I could say we're all guilty of doing something like that when we're in the world. Of pretending like you don't know exactly what it is you're giving someone. It's like, huh, what? It's like you're acting clueless. That's an evil thing to do to a brother. That's an evil thing to do to a sister. Please continue.
Verse 33. And he knew it and said, it is my son's coat. An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. Verse 34. And Jacob rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his loins and mourned for his son many days. Verse 35. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, for I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. Verse 36. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto
Potiphar,
an officer of Pharaoh's, and the captain of the guard.
you got to realize the lack of brotherhood that these brothers had for Joseph caused such pain for their father. Please.
So I get where it says that he refused to be comforted, and he said, "For I will go down into the grave." Does this like mean like he was feeling suicidal or something?
I won't say he was feeling suicidal, but he was depressed. He refused to be comforted. He refused to get better. He mourned. And like this changed him on a deep level, you know, to the point where if you know the story further, he does have another son. What was his son? Who was the last son? Last son of Jacob. Last son of Jacob. Benjamin. Yes. So, and you got to realize, like, he doted on Benjamin even more so than when he doted on Joseph, to the point that his brothers hated Joseph. Like, his brothers hated him, right? But when Joseph came back and said, all right, give me Benjamin, each one of them, all of them would have died instead of giving them Benjamin. Like, that's how much it affected their father. Like, they saw that they're like, the death of Joseph, or the perceived death of Joseph, hit him in such a way that they would rather all die rather than give up their little brother, you know? So it does show, like, and that further on does show the character change of them, you know, and the regret that they definitely had and the repentance that they had for doing that. And then again, the brotherhood that Joseph has for forgiving them. So like, and that's actually where we're going next. Yeah, Slovakia. You're gonna go to Genesis chapter 50 and verse 21. Oh, so like a lot, not right there. So like that was actually the wrong one. Boom, Slovakia. Okay, go to the book of Slovakia. Okay, go to book of Genesis chapter 42 and verse Slovakia. Let me see. Slovakia. Bear with me one moment, please. You said what? Khan, you're gonna go to chapter 43. Okay. Actually, no. Actually, go to 43. You go to chapter 43. Go to chapter 43. Or should we move further down? Slovakia. Just actually for time's sake, we're gonna drop the story of Joseph and we're gonna go to the story of David. Go to the book of First Kings, chapter 19. We're gonna start at verse 1. Actually, First Samuel, chapter 19 and verse 1. Because we're running down on time because we started late, and I'm still gonna end at 9, so we don't have time to finish it. First Samuel, chapter 19. We're gonna start at verse 1.
This is the book of First Samuel, chapter 19 and verse 1. And Saul spake unto Jonathan his son, and to all his servants, that they should kill David.
Now, this is Saul after he's become jealous of David. He's allowed himself to become envious of his servant, of the man under him, because of the work that he's doing. Now, you got to realize it's just like that enviness, that jealousy, that demon is going to attack even us here in the truth. You may see a brother under you that's coming up, that's doing more work than you've put in the past, or perceivably. It may look like this brother is an exceptional brother. You just might think, okay, he's going to outpace me completely, and he's going to outrank me pretty soon. You don't let a demon come into your mind. Don't let a demon try to tell you to keep this brother down, to put a stumbling block in this brother's way because you're guilty, or not guilty, you're envious of him. You're afraid. Because that's what Saul was. Saul was a afraid little man, Salagia, which is crazy because even the later Saul in the New Testament, his name was Paul, and that pretty much means little man, and that's the character that Saul has in this chapter. Please continue.
Verse 2. But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted much in David. And Jonathan told David, saying, Saul, my father, seeketh to kill thee. Now therefore, I pray thee, take heed to thyself until the morning, and abide in a secret place, and hide thyself.
Now, something so heavy are about the story of David and Saul, and this is just my personal belief, is the relationship that David had with Jonathan. Like, the brotherhood that these two shared was something that, and you could say it's biblical, because that's literally what it is. Like, these brothers had a spirit that connected to. Sorry, I might have to get the right scripture for it. Hey, Saga, while we're breaking it down, can you look up the scripture? Actually, I'm gonna look it up while we read the next one. I'm gonna look it up. But they had a relationship that transcended the royalty relationship. Like, they weren't king and servant, future king and servant, prince and king. They were brothers. And Jonathan saw this. And when Jonathan found out that his dad was going to kill David, he went out of his way to let David know, hey, yo, my pops is trying to kill you. Like, you got to realize, like, Jonathan loves both of them so much, He loves his father so much, he's not going to leave his father's side. He loves David so much, he's going to help David every chance he gets. Like, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like, what do? You dishonor your father by not obeying him? He's the king. But then again, the king is trying to kill your best friend, and it's wrong. So, like, the relationship that Jonathan had and the ability that he had to make him, or to be able to warn David, is greater than what it is on paper. Please continue.
Verse 3. And I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where thou art, and I will commune with my father of thee, and what I see, and that I will tell thee. Verse 4. And Jonathan spake good of David unto Saul his father, and said unto him, let not the king sin against his servant, against David, because he hath not sinned against thee. And because his works have been to thee, and because his works have been to thee were very good. Verse 5. For he did put his life in his hand and slew the Philistine. And the Lord wrought a great salvation for all Israel. Thou sawest it and didst rejoice. Wherefore when thou wilt, and wherefore then wilt thou sin against innocent blood and slay David without a cause?
And this is Jonathan pleading with his father, trying to beg him to not kill David. And at the same time, he's having brotherhood for his father to convict him of the evil that he's doing. Like, he already knows that he's committing sin by trying to kill David when David has done nothing wrong against Saul. Continue.
Verse 6. And Saul hearkened unto the voice of Jonathan, and Saul swore, as the Lord liveth, he shall not be slain.
This is Saul. He may think he is, but Saul's lying to himself. In this moment, he may have told Jonathan that, hey, I'm not going to kill David, but in his heart, he still has murder in it. Please continue.
Verse 7. And Jonathan called David, and Jonathan showed him all those things. And Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence, as in times past.
So at this point right here, everything went back to how it was before. Saul said, okay, I'm not going to kill David so he can come back and we can keep moving as we were beforehand. I forgive him for nothing at this point. But you got to realize that there was never any type of reconciliation for the alt that Saul had for David. The same situation was just going to continue. David was going to do excellent work for Saul, and the people were going to exalt David because of it. Please continue.
Verse 8. And there was war again, and David went out and fought with the Philistines and slew them with a great slaughter, and they fled from him. Verse 9. And the evil spirit of the Lord was upon Saul. And the evil spirit from the Lord was upon Saul, and he sat in his house with his javelin in his hand. And David played with his hand.
So you got to see, like, the same thing. Like, Saul was jealous of the greatness of David on the battlefield and how the people loved him. So when he forgave him and let him come back, he was still jealous of the greatness of David and how he performed on the battlefield and how the people loved him. The problem is still there. Saul's not doing anything to address his demons. And it says, and the evil spirit. So yeah, he had an evil spirit on him of envy, of jealousy. So please continue.
Verse 10. And Saul sought to smite David even to the wall with the javelin. But he slipped away out of Saul's presence, and he smote the javelin into the wall. And David fled and escaped that night.
He tried to murder David after the battle when they're in their time of celebration. David's over here playing his harp, or playing his not the harp, Salaki. Forgive me, it's not a harp. It's actually another instrument. I forgot the name of the instrument, but it's not a harp that the brother was playing. It was actually the instrument that the harp was based on. But Saul tried to murder him as they're celebrating this victory, and David was able to escape. Like, Salaki. Like, at some point you gotta realize, like at some point the guards are just like, okay, this nigga Saul's kind of tripping. Like, how did David get out of the king's house? You know, when the king tried to kill him, that means the guards are low key like, okay, let David go. Like, this nigga didn't do anything, you know. So everyone around Saul, you can assume, sees that Saul is tripping. So please, like, obviously everyone does, because Jonathan sees it. He's like, what the hell are you doing? And David's able to come in and out of his house. So please continue.
Verse 11. Saul also sent messengers unto David's house to watch him and to slay him in the morning. And Michal, David's wife, told him, saying, if thou save not thy life tonight, tomorrow thou shalt be slain. So Michal let David down through the window. And Michal let David down through a window. And he went and fled and escaped.
So just like you got to think about this, like this is Michal. Thought for that pronunciation, but this is Saul's daughter. Like Saul is trying to kill his son-in-law. Like the man that you said to marry your daughter, that you brought into your house, that you allowed to bring greatness because the Lord is with him, and you get jealous of him. Like you have, like that's such an evil spirit to have on you. You're king, and yet you're jealous of the man that the Lord has brought to do great things for you. Like, just imagine if Saul wasn't a jealous bastard towards David. You know, like the trajectory of, I mean, it was obviously prophesied that it wouldn't, but the trajectory of Israel would have been completely different, you know? Like, it's lucky. Please continue.
Verse 13. And Michal took an image and laid it in the bed and put a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster and covered it with cloth. Verse 14. And when Saul sent messengers to take David, she said, he is sick. Verse 15. And Saul sent the messengers again to David, saying, bring him up to me in the bed, that I may slay him.
Mark Salagi. Like, she puts a fake body, like a mannequin, an image or a statue in the bed, puffs it up to make it seem like he's in the bed so that she can fool Saul's servants into thinking that he's there still. And Saul's such an evil bastard. He's just like, hey, bring him up here anyways. Like, put him on a gurney, bring him up here. I'm going to kill that nigga today. Like, Salagi, Saul is on demon time. Continue, please.
Verse 16. And when the messengers would come in, behold, there was an image in the bed with a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster. Verse 17. And Saul said unto Michal, why hast thou deceived me so, and sent away mine enemy, that he is escaped? And Michal answered Saul, he said unto me, let me go. Why should I kill thee? Verse 18. So David fled and escaped, and came to Samuel to Ramah, and told him all that Saul done to him. And he and Samuel went and dwelt in Naioth.
So you got to see, it's like Saul is absolutely baffled as to why his daughter would help David get away, which is crazy because he allowed David to sleep with his daughter. Salagi, something you got to realize as men is when you do give your daughter away to her husband, that is she is his property at that point. Like, yes, she may have been your little girl, but you got to realize it's just like now she answers to another authority. So it's like Saul should never have expected his daughter Michal to help him when she's already sleeping with David. Like Saul is definitely showing his foolishness in his anger. But please continue.
Verse 19. And it was told Saul, saying, behold, David is at Naioth in Ramah. Verse 20. And Saul sent messengers to take David, and when they saw the company of the prophets prophesying, and Samuel standing as appointed over them, the Spirit of God was upon the messengers of Saul, and they also prophesied.
So you got to see, it's just like these men, so David ran to Samuel, the prophet of Israel. So this is a brother running towards commanding General YAHANNA. You know, like imagine every like America is Israel and the president's trying to kill you. And the only one that can protect you from the president is Commanding General YAHANNA. That's the one man that has the authority because that's the one man that the Lord gave authority on earth to. So it's a lot. Like you got to remember, it's just like Samuel is the one that anointed the king. Saul wouldn't be king without Samuel. Same thing with David. So this is where David runs to. David runs to the most powerful to the most powerful man in the land, which is Samuel, to ask for protection. And when Saul finds this out, he sends his servants. And when it says his servants, this isn't just talking about like, or it's like messengers and servants. It's not talking about those. Please, you got a question?
Sorry,
I don't know. Please.
Talking about his army, sir.
Khan. It's talking about brothers with swords to kill. So it's just like the wording is calling servants. Those are his servants, obviously. But I know people coming out of the Christian church, when you read that word, you imagine like a servant, like a brother in a white cloth robe with the platter walking around the house with a fan doing stuff, you know, carrying it. Like, no, these aren't the type of servants that are doing that type of work. These are servants that are brought up and trained to kill, you know. So in Salakia. So when they saw the company of prophets, so multiple prophets that they saw that were under Samuel, the Salakia, it says, Salakia, please.
Salakia, I was just thinking it's heavy because also, like, these are men that David brought with,
right?
Or, you know, like,
right.
You know, following orders. These are his brothers as well.
Yeah, no, yeah. Bring it up to the trooper for bringing that out because he's absolutely right. Like these are the brothers that David goes to war with. Like these are his niggas, damn near, you know. So yeah, it's just like they got to do what the king says. Same thing as his best friend Jonathan. But the spirit of God was upon the messengers as well. So you got to realize, just like they weren't going to do an evil thing. Like when the spirit of God is upon you, you're not going to commit evil, you know, which is why you have to make sure to put on that spiritual armor of the Most High. Prepare yourself for the things you're going to go into this world to face, you know, because it's going to come. And like if you don't have that spirit of God upon you, you're going to fall. If you don't have brotherhood, you're going to fall. Please continue.
Verse 21. And when it was told Saul, he sent another messenger, and they prophesied likewise. And Saul sent messengers again the third time, and they prophesied also.
So you gotta realize it's just like this is the king. No one ever says no to him. Like he sends 3 different groups of men out to go get David to bring him back to be killed. And each one of them come back and say the message of the Most High, which is he's with the prophets. You're not going to touch him. Your authority doesn't like. It's like he tried 3 times to usurp the authority of the prophets, and 3 times the Spirit of God rebutted Saul, who had an army. The prophets aren't an army. Saul sent in, like you said, like men ready to kill an army, and yet they're being turned away by the Spirit of the Most High. They're being convicted by the Spirit of the Most High. And that's another way you got to realize that our warfare is fought. We don't fight our warfare carnally as priests and prophets of the Most High. We let the Most High fight our battles. Okay, continue, please.
Verse 22. Then went he also to Ramah and came to a great well that is in Shekau. And he asked and said, where are Samuel and David? And one said, behold, they be at Naioth in Ramah. Verse 23. And he went thither to Naioth in Ramah, and the Spirit of God was upon him also. And he went on and prophesied until he came to Naioth in Ramah. Verse 24. And he stripped off his clothes also, and prophesied before Samuel in like manner, and lay down naked all that day and all that night. Wherefore they say, is Saul also among the prophets?
And so in verse 24, you have to understand, or verse 23, it says that the Spirit of God was upon him. He was convicted to see his wrongdoings. So after sending these three groups of men to come get David, he's like, okay, let me go by myself and do this. Where's David and Samuel? They're like, okay, they over in this town. All right, let me go. Before he even gets there, the Spirit of God convicts him, and he's able to know his shame. So like it, because in verse 24 it says, and he stripped off his clothes also and prophesied before Samuel in like manner and lay down naked all that day. He didn't actually get naked in front of the prophet Samuel and lay down on the ground. He stripped his clothes in showing of grief, in mourning, and he lay naked. That's the shame that he's showing himself. And we don't have time to go into the breakdown for naked and how it correlates to shame, but go into the book of Genesis when it talks about the shame of Eve and Adam. And the second one, do you know the second one? There's another one, prominent one, where they're talking about nakedness, the nakedness.
Slagging, sir, was it Lot, sir?
No, it's not Lot. No, not Lot. Because that's in Genesis. Yeah, no, it's not in Genesis. Let me just look at the nakedness. GB. Let's see real quick. Salaki. Okay, here's an example right here. It says Exodus 20 and verse 26, neither shalt thou go up by the steps until mine altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereon. And that's talking about the shame. So the shame not be discovered. And there's a whole bunch. Or when it talks about like if you sleep with another man's wife or your uncle's wife, you've seen his nakedness. Is you haven't seen him naked. It's talking about his shame, which is his wife. So it's like you got to realize you didn't see your uncle's wife. You didn't see your uncle naked. You slept with his wife and you saw his nakedness because you saw his shame, which is his wife. So it's like you got to realize that word nakedness is not talking about nudity. So yeah, so that's what, and you got to realize like this is a demon that Saul is battling continuously throughout this book. You got your fist? All right, shoot. Well, with that, we're gonna end class. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Shai Barakatah to all the men watching. If you'd like to come into the school to become a trooper, to get into the military of the Most High, remember to get into all black. That's black boots, black shirt, black pants, black warband or scarf. With that, Shalom, Yahweh Shema, Thabah Shem Yahweh Shai to all the sisters watching online. And